Nguza, Chuluga, beautiful. Uchulugile, you can tell. Yeah, it's that time. It's got nothing on him. Sanmonani Ndimadegwane, Khuyanant, welcome to Vanishing Cultures, the show that dares to explore our ever-changing African cultures in modern-day society. Angihambing etuka mala musiphiwa kamtshali kodwa ngiphethe intombi enhle la ekhaya. Konje ubani sis?
You know, but today I'm doing both. Charmaine futhi eka Vanishing Cultures na thema swakudya banasikhulele nene namunhla. Thama naye na hiblabula hitihlobatloba kutaba mnandi.
Hlale kumnandi nganitshela ngathi get used to it. Kunje asindawo. Every Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock, you'll be seeing these faces right here on Galaxy Universal Network, doing the right thing, talking about the things you don't want to talk about, some things that make you uncomfortable, some things that make you proud to be African.
Yeah, so we say get out of the closet. I mean, we want to hear everything.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, last time we spoke about hair, and some people were pissed off about how they were put, or they were touched in their studio through their hair.
Yeah, it was hair raising, eh?
Oh! And of course, we also spoke about polyandry, where a woman were allowed to have a couple of more husbands, which was exciting.
My personal favorite, you know, I mean.
Okay.
I don't know any woman who'd want to have like 2 men, 3, maybe 4, I don't know.
You're married now, yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't you have a husband?
So they say.
Welcome to the show, guys. It's Vanishing Cultures. Today we have another hair-raising topic. What are we talking about, Mtshali?
Well, today we're talking about our mothers who raised our African white brothers and sisters, and we want to know, where is the thank you? Remember, our mothers also did raise us black kids, but the specific question for today is we want to hear that voice from our white African brothers and sisters, as well as our black African sisters as well.
Yeah, who were raised by our mama betu. And don't get it wrong, the interesting thing about all of this is, while this one woman who left 9 kids in a shack could afford to buy bread through raising those 2 kids in the suburbs. Stay with us, that's what we're talking about. But Malawi, can you hear me? I got one of your own here. I got Connie, Chumie, guys. Also, Free State, but has got Malawian blood. And this thing as in Zile Episode, no Soul City, who win the Avanti Award, Rhythm City. No muntu yizo goes good. Joe, you know when I try to read Connie's story here, this whole show is over. Like,
yeah, no.
That's it. Welcome to the show, ma.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Good to figure. I have here again, especially with Jamie Bartlett. Now, yo, people in the UK, Berkshire, England, can you hear me? This man has done amazing work. This man has won lots of awards: the Crystal Award for Best Actor on Isidingo, the Vita Award for Best Lead Actor in The Great Outdoors. He's done Red Dust. And man has been, Joe, you've been all over the show.
Literally.
Mr. O'Reilly. Welcome to the show, Jamie.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you guys
sir.
for heeding our call to come and visit us here on Vanishing Cultures.
It's a pleasure.
Are you guys okay?
Very much so.
Yeah, where have you been? What's happening?
Where have I been? Well, I've been around the same planet, the same planet that you are on. Fortunately, Mina, now we come from the same hood.
Yeah.
Even though we don't see one another all the time, but yeah,
It's there.
There are certain things that I've been busy with. Right now, it's Gomorrah that we all see on the screen right now. Well, there have been other things that I've been doing, but at the moment, the main one is Gomorrah.
Wow. Oh, Bartlett, what's going on, sir? Where have you been?
Where have I been?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I battled like we all did through COVID.
Yep.
I ended a 13-year thing on Rhythm City, only to hear recently they're going to start it from the very beginning and play until I'm in my mid-60s.
Wow. Guys, there's a question to you both. Let's start here. How was your upbringing? I mean, how were you guys raised? Did you guys have any luck, a nanny?
Yes.
How were you both raised? I'll start with you.
The second mama.
With me, okay.
Mama, yeah.
No, I've never experienced anything like that. That's called a nanny. But I know that my mother has been one.
Yes.
She used to be a domestic worker in Velcom. I remember a street called Stateway. I even remember the names of the kids there. I remember the name of the wife. Yeah, she was not doing a sleep-in, as it usually called. She used to come home every day, but yeah, never had a nanny.
Was it called a piece job?
No, it wasn't a piece job. It was a full job. She used to go there every day,
Yes.
except on Saturdays and Sundays. But Monday to Friday, she was there.
Oh.
So you'd say at least you had your mom.
Yes, yes, I did have my mom. Yeah.
Great. And Mr. Bartlett, what was your experience with them?
My mum served as a nursing sister my whole life, and I was enabled as a child to have two very powerful nannies with a very intimate relationship with them. My mother worked 12-hour days, and I was brought up by Felicia when I lived in Cape Town, also a woman,
Wow.
and by Violet, a South Suita woman in Johannesburg. And they were my minders, my carers, my teachers, in a very intimate, you know how intimate and umbilical these relationships are.
Yes.
And often they sacrifice bringing up their own children in order to bring you up in a very, very racist country.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know,
How was that for you?
I was acutely aware of it. Acutely aware of it. And I'm acutely aware that that incredible relationship you have with your nanny, when you get older, you often have to almost erase it. This very intimate relationship. And almost pretend like you didn't have
Like
this
it never
incredible
happened.
intimacy.
But what would you say now, let's say, to somebody who feels that because of that upbringing, they had a tumultuous youth, you know, because they didn't have their mother, or they feel that they were robbed? What would you say right now as somebody who has wisdom? And I think one of the reasons why we had you guys on the show is because we knew that you guys care mostly about our people, and I think you'd like to give wisdom more than anything. What would you say? I just want to start there.
Yes.
I mean, here's a scenario. If I've got an inferiority complex, and I don't. Everybody has their mother to help them with this solving of X. I don't have, and it's just me. What? I mean, how do you try and take that person to the steps of trying to make them understand?
I don't know if I understand your question very well. But I think, you know, in life, let me just say, I know a lot of, before I even get to the white-black thing, I know a lot of black people who have contributed a lot to my life in one way or another. And as I grew up, some I'm still in contact with them, some I'm not.
Yes.
Some, you know, once in a while we do, you know, crossroads and we rekindle things that have happened before. But having said that, I know it's life, you know, that's how it is like. But I think in a case where you bring up a person, you're not just looking after the physical part of a person, you're looking after the spiritual part of the person, you're looking after his emotional thing, because as Jamie says, his mother used to work for 12 hours. Yes. So which means basically it's almost like your mom was not there. True. Because by the time she comes home, that's the time you are in bed, if she was doing a 12 to 12. So I will not speak for people that were brought up by black people. I will speak for myself. I would like to think that, you know, at some point, okay, I know that there are also a lot of white people who also brought up the children of the people that were working for them in their own homes.
Right.
There are people who are white who have also done that.
Yes.
It's a very, very tricky question. What is it that you expect Jamie to do to Violet and Felicia? Should he go and look for them and say thank you? Or maybe, because we know that Felicia and Violet, it was during the apartheid days, then should Jamie maybe say, Violet, where are you?
Yes.
Are your children okay? Can I help you here and there? Because the truth is that they were privileged. And the truth is that they are still privileged, even today.
Yes.
But on the same breath, I would also say, why should Jamie do that? You know, because those people were working and they earned a salary.
Yes.
Whether it was a legitimate salary ebafaneleyo or
Yes.
it was below the rate or it was on the rate, but somebody could say, okay, they were working, like we were all working for a particular soap.
Yeah.
So now why should that soap come back and pay us and call us back and pay us? That's why I'm saying it's a very
tricky question.
Yeah, it's kind of complicated.
Perhaps we should ask Jamie. Now that you're grown, are you cognizant of the relationship that you had with your nannies? How do you feel? Would you want to go back and reach out to them? Is it something that you still carry with you even today?
I do. I carry the scars of that, definitely. I mean, to say you didn't would be somebody in enormous denial of that complex relationship. You've got a mum and you've got a nanny. And in some ways, your nanny is the person that you go to, you gravitate to more than your mother.
Yes.
Often that's the person that knows you better because you front with your mother.
Yes.
And with your nanny, she knows you actually who you are more than mum at times.
Yes.
I think that I've discovered my intimacy with my mum only much later in my life. Real intimacy. As a child, I think that I was interrogated more emotionally by my nannies that brought me up.
That you were by your...
Yeah.
Wow.
Guys, we're still here with Connie, Chumie and Jamie Bartlett, and guys, we're live on Facebook. So, send your comments, tell us exactly what you know, feel like the topic, because a lot of you guys have been asking us to have this. So we decided, okay, because this show is not for us, it's for you guys.
Yes.
Look, talk to us, tell us exactly what you want to hear from us, and if you've got any opinions, share them, more questions, they're right here to answer those questions. We're live also on Instagram at Sphiwe 4.
And on Facebook as well.
Exactly, but for now, I guess you're going
You guys have got a stunning...
Mabona ekusukela sweswi no kakahle ekusuka straight munhu antima a teke exitulu swilo a swa fana mina more than nina 20 something years a tshama ni tirha ekusukela munhu antima a teke exitulu mitiro a ya ri kona sweswi loko hi paka exitoko va ta etibylaws ti fika ti hi tekela xitoko na sweswi no xavisa mi ni vone ni njhani a ni free ni nkarhi ni langutisa hala na hala ku loko va fika ni kota ku teka ntsuma swin'wana swa ko loko swiwa va swi teka va nyika vana va vona loko sweswi vo fika va rhwala swilo leswi loko swi landza a wa swi kumi hinkwaswo no me ku ya me valungu va hi kurise kahle ngopfu vutsotsi a byi nga ri kona ku taza sweswi ku va na vutsotsi vanhu a va na mintirho va landzelela valungu mapurasini ku ri va ta kota ku hanya mara loko ku ve mfumo lowu wa swi kota ku create mintirho swilo na crime a yi ta va hansi no minkarhi liya loko va tirha mapurasini a va swi kota ku ta hola lestiki va kuma 500 hi n'hweti mara 500 a yi kota ku sapota vana va 6 sweswi 500 a ya sapoti nchumu a ya xavi nchumu hi kuli hi ti 500 swilo a swi nga durhi swilo a swi ri simple valungu loko va fika va mi kuma miriso a kuma etraka yi mi rhwala yi mi
endini ngalesikhathi lebafuna ukuthi babe babone abantwana babo ngoba it's like ungasha umhlubulo nami ngiyakwasha futhi so mina nabo sibambisene angivisisi ukuthi inkinga yokuphi ukuthi bangabakhulula babone abantwana babo and ngifila ngathi somehow somewhere labo mama ngifila ngathi abekho happy ngoba shothi injabulo yabo nenkululeko yabo abayitholanga ngoba basemsebenzini kodwa kufuna ukuthi nebantwana ngala kufuna ukuthi bajabule babone bomake mara ngenxa yalesimo lesi ngibona kwangathi abekho happy bomake and ngibona kwangathi somehow babandlulela ngendlela lethide so ngibona ngathi still solo basebenza ngaphansi kwelibandlululo and bekumele ukuthi babakhulule
this thing ya makgowa ka mokgwa a treatang batho ba bantsho ne re kopa as government just re be equal le bona, because this thing has been from far until even now is 2020. Since Mandela we fight for struggle, but this thing is still the same, because I remember even 2007 wanaka nakena ko Smiley Kitty le makgowa, they used to call me Kafres ni mantle tuot dintho tse jwalo na re khotse tsa kene dikolo tsa makgowa, and then motho o montsho le lekgowa a ba be equal, even ke ko mall or ke service ko shopong or wherever restaurant, they don't treat us as equal.
It's Vanishing Cultures, and this is your fact find, and this is what we found for you. Overcoming adversity from all angles, the struggle of the domestic worker during apartheid by Bennett Gwen. Now this article was written by Bennett Gwen and forms part of the SAHO, the Southern Methodist University Partnership Project, Overcoming Adversity from All Angles, the struggle of the domestic worker during apartheid. Now, Unobengazi Merikota is a South African domestic worker for a wealthy family in Cape Town. When asked in 2004 about the world that the domestic workers lived in during apartheid, she said a look at gender domestically, mobility and citizenship in South Africa indicates that the world of domestic workers is one of uncertainties, insecurities, dehumanization, even in the midst of abundance and rhetoric of rights and entitlements. Now, domestic workers in South Africa during apartheid lived under oppression and difficult lives. I mean, they had to endure extreme racial prejudice and demeaning social norms that degraded their existence as people. The workers and their employers had a parasitic relationship. The employers underpaid and undervalued the servants due to their race and position in society. Now, the workers had an incredibly difficult time changing their relations with employers for a multitude of reasons. The intense racial tensions during apartheid, paired with the struggles of organizing a spread out and disorganized workforce, were two big problems that domestic workers had to solve in order to improve their lives. Now, those two problems caused domestic workers great pain. It caused them great pain and suffering in their journey for a better life. But the perseverance eventually paid off, and they achieved their goal of unionizing the domestic workers in South Africa. Now, at first it was a struggle to unionize, but once they did, they were able to influence legislation and gain benefits that helped them better their lives. But domestic workers still experience difficulties in the modern day due to racial tensions between employers and employees. Namanje, kusenzeka. Okhokho bethu abanye bakhulise ingane eziningi zabelungu. Samelu thank you. That's your fact find.
I'm Mtshali back at Vanishing Cultures. This is the show that you want to watch. It's the show that you want to ask anything about everything. Today we are talking about our black mothers who raised our white brothers and sisters. The sad thing is that being an African, you cannot be political. Unfortunately, we're in a space where things are political. Looking at the situation right now in Senegal, we are forced to ask certain questions that do relate to our everyday life. One of them also being racism.
It becomes a double-edged sword, you know, where you say these so-called farmers now that are fighting with people that work at the farms, that they won't give them a place to stay, and yet those people raise them. And I mean, I heard what you said earlier when you said it doesn't mean that when you are working there, now somebody must go look for you and try and back food. But shouldn't there be a bit of respect there? Shouldn't there be a bit of mutual respect there with what's going on? I mean, what happens is basebenza farming all their lives and they never really get to own anything. They just stay there.
So which kind of makes you question, being given work as a domestic worker, is it another form of oppression, do you think, in your mind? Or is it a way of just trying to help somebody out so that they can take care of their family, given that after that they leave that workplace, they've got nothing to show for it?
I think we live in a country which has a history. A history of discrimination, a history of racism and all that.
And colonialism.
Colonialism and all of that. I wouldn't say that hiring someone to be your domestic worker is oppression. Because I do have a domestic worker in my house now, and I'm hoping that I'm not oppressing her. It depends, Rona, when you have that domestic worker, are you treating her fairly?
Yes.
Are you paying her fairly?
Right.
That's the thing. And we know very well that, especially in the farms, there is no fairly there. Those people live in some dingy places, you know, they are underpaid, they are disrespected, they are reminded all the time about who they are. They live in squalor, in poverty, and they have brought up the very people, you know, that are doing those things for them. So when I said, Umuntu, if the person is working for you, does it mean that one day, like if somebody has brought you up, does it mean that you have to go and look for them? Like you said, it's a double-edged
sword.
Yes. But you know what? The respect and the appreciation, the respect and the appreciation and the gratitude, in whatever way it comes, I feel that it has to be there. Not just to a white and a black, a white employer and a black employee, but across the board. But as we know, like I said before, the former privileged are still the privileged even now.
So would you say that as black people as well, do we show enough to our own brothers and sisters, particularly domestic workers, on how to treat each other? Remember the saying, umuntu ngabantu, I think is no longer clear in the way that we treat each other before you can even take it a step further and say our white brothers and sisters should also come to the party and appreciate the work that these women have done.
I think we should be the examples of that, because our mothers used to be domestic workers, and we wouldn't like to treat our own people the way our mothers were treated. And fact is that there are our black people that are not treating their domestic workers well. That is true.
Chumie, I'm sorry to bring this in. You have a son that you've named. Can I say it? All right. I've just realized that James gonna be like, so you take my son's name, you put it all over TV now. Everyone's gonna be looking for my son. Your son's name is Umuntu. Like, how did that come to be?
So that came to bear when Hector was born. We had a Zimbabwean lady called Sphiwe.
Wow. Are you serious? Wow.
Yes. And she called Muntu Muntu.
Wow.
And I've always called him Muntu, and that's the name that him and I have shared, and we enjoy that to this day.
Wow.
So that just came about through me copying the way what she used to say, Muntu, and then it came to
So you would say you enjoyed that relationship with Muntu's second mother type thing, like you guys had a great relationship as she was working for you.
Yeah, I was acutely aware that what had actually happened during my childhood during apartheid was not going to be something that was going to perpetuate.
Right.
So what was going on in terms of the relationship that I shared was entirely different to my childhood, in a very different circumstance and informed by a different world and a different Jamie.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
So you really try and kind of, through that inform yourself, I'm not going to go there.
It keeps coming
this
back.
Needs to be a much bigger interrogation of how we're going to parent, co-parent, and the role that she plays, a pivotal role in our family. It's pivotal.
Wow. It's amazing. It's amazing how when we brought up auntie, but as soon as they start working for you, all of a sudden you lose the respect. And we're so quick to saying how white people did that. How about what black people have done? What are we doing about it? We're live on Instagram, we're live on Facebook. Please give us your thoughts and your insights. After this break, we'll be back with some more of Connie, Chumie, and James Bartlett.
Make massive moves.
So from the theatre stage to the kitchen.
I'm anxiously awaiting to see Sanaya.
What else is this if not love?
Make massive moves with Starside. Make massive moves.
The space race has already started.
Russia had got the first object into space.
The coast is as wild today as it was when Europeans settled the continent.
Enormous beasts with enormous thirst. The teams are primed and ready.
They got the first animal into space, and they got the first person.
Time to see what the boys can do.
Make massive moves with Starsat. Make massive moves.
Isn't that your daughter's bib?
But the truth is, I feel like Arabella's always with me.
Don't you ever forget this man's face. He killed your brother.
Don't shoot! Please don't shoot! Don't shoot!
Make massive moves with Starsat.
Can I just be honest? I'm having such a beautiful show. I'm lost. I'm lost. So here's my direction, guys. Please, guys, Paleleni, let's hear what you guys have to say. I'm sitting with legends here, and I'm enjoying having this conversation. While we're on a break, we spoke about how we actually treat the nannies who become the cleaners, become the how does that happen?
Everything. Yeah.
What we were actually saying was that often the person who's the caregiver nanny is also the domestic worker of doing the windows, the toilet brush, the whole thing. It's compounded, so she might have 2 or 3 children, and she's being ushered into actually doing and cleaning and scrubbing and dogs
washing
and dog bowls and
feeding
washing
dogs and everything.
and possibly even watering the garden too. Hey?
Wow. It's amazing that these women are remarkable. So where do you think the disconnect is? The lack of respect? Because surely we are not saying the right message somewhere. Because if you look at the way a lot of domestic workers are treated, it's horrible.
It is horrible. I actually think, I say this just lightly, but I think it's of import. I think that in black female culture, the women are incredibly yielding. So, all of a sudden it was that task and it's that task and that task and then whoa. We don't place parameters in our culture enough. And you know what people are like in employ. When they see that you can handle it and do it, they just pile you and cane you more and hurt you more and even more until you are absolutely racked, with the stress of it. And I think that's an issue in this country, big time.
And I think, shouldn't there be something? When you work, there's UIF and there's all of that. I think also for Labo Mama Laba, shouldn't there be something that you work at someone's house for 40 years, for instance, and that's it, it's over, and you just go back.
Just
home.
leave as a thank you.
Also, what do you think the government? You guys, I think you guys can answer this. What do you think the government can do to not just give these ladies just pension, but something extra? Because I think that what they do is extra.
Yeah, I think because some of them, they have worked for Boma 20, 30, 40 years for the same people. I think there should be a system where their employers contribute towards their to their pension, not just the UIF, to their pension, so that at least when they go back home and then, they at least can enjoy life. I know it won't be that much, but at least they will be able to go by. I also know that there was a union of domestic workers, but I don't know.
Still, isn't there?
There is still.
Yes.
So I don't know how much.
I know
how effective the union is, because I think the union should play a bigger role in being spokespeople for the domestic workers, because most of the people, if you don't have a proper education, you become timid. You are so afraid of expressing yourself and talking for yourself. So at least now they have a collective voice.
Don't you also think that perhaps the reason linked to that as well is because even though there are institutions and unions that stand up for domestic workers, I find the problem oftentimes is that it's just talking. The implementation part of it is almost non-existent.
Is across the board in our country.
Yes.
There are a lot of good policies.
Yes.
But most of them are just talk shop. when it comes to the actual implementation, we
or
don't.
the policing of the law.
We do not. Yes, we do not see that.
And I guess because nobody really has the time to really give it their all. Because I really think that all of us, when I say all of us, I say, I mean, look at us now. We would say some of us have domestic workers who are raising our kids. So it nullifies the white and black thing, even though the subject matter today was the white and black thing. But if we talk about coming together for that issue, even if we don't come together for any other issue, I think it's so important. I mean, you look at Laba have raised, I'm talking families, like they raise 10 kids while they're raising your 5 kids, and you don't know. I mean, that's an amazing job for Ukoko.
Absolutely.
It is an amazing job to bring you up, Nina Ekaya.
Exactly.
You know, and also
while
bring up. Whilst she's staying there, she also has. You know, those
she's
people
at Jacob's house
they were carrying
7 days a week, but somehow she knows what happens at home.
Yes.
I mean...
And you also, you got to remember that, like, during apartheid, there was the Bantustan. So the miner, you know, he'd be working up here, but his real home was in Mozambique, in Lesotho, Basotho land. This was another complexity. So mommy was, you know, it's just, honestly, we really blew it. It became very complex and blurred.
I think that's why I agree with the people when they say, where is the thank you? And that's why we called you guys on the show, hoping that you guys would help us find a way to approach this matter, because it is a delicate matter. And I mean, you look at the news, you find that Ukoko Sahlala in that homestead, Iowani, or with the grandchildren, which the ladies have left there and went back to Joburg.
So
they're still suffering.
All the exploitation is done. All that's left of it is just a broken window in some rural place where nobody ever thinks to go and check on in any case. So I always say this. I always say that you are human first before you are your gender, before you are your race, before you are anything else. So I think the bigger question is that how do we as people come together to matters which we all feel should be taken upon, such as domestic workers not being recognized for their work and going out with nothing in hand.
Yeah, I think that I think around issues as serious as this, I think that like other issues, we need a government that means business. Don't start this story. Actually implement. And we got things with wealth tax and all these things, great. Where's the ammo going? Where's it going? I mean, you're doing all these things. You know, I mean, I think about my taxation is at 45% to the state. Where's it going? Is it really going to people that really need it, women that need it? What are you doing with this ammo? You know? I think we need a government that means serious business, and their intentions for mamas, for gogos, and for people who it needs to be ruddered in a different way.
I agree there fully. Mr. Mtshali.
Akasiza ukuthi abanye abantu basile emgwaqweni sahlele kule ndaba uhleli nayo Connie, Chumie no Bartlett asiza ukuthi bathini emgwaqweni
lesizwe sebatang le sona mo gae bere ja dipanana re ya masibitsi re thabela chelete le ba boela morago ba re fa chelete re shala re ja ka yona mo gae ke yona nto bere thabela yona ja gore ba ba dirang ba ba treatwa be nna be re sa e bone ba no ba fa di percent aga ba thabela di percentage ba ba fan tsona maybe ba ba fa di toy rena re gona go dlala ga di toy tse uwe ba fileng ba rawa tse di tlhako le go elaga le ke bereka molo
ni wansati ni kurinteta na bana banharu ba bafana ni kurise hi mali ya le makhixini mana mina va tirhe nkarhi wo leho amakhixini swinene until va ze va gcina ku tirha last year hiko va famba va wisa va famba va ya kaya Giyani va ya tshama kona mina ni kule hi mali ya makhishi ni nghena xikolo ni fika la ni nga tshika ni tivi na grade 12 because a ku ri ku tikeni swinene mana mina ku ri munhu loyi a ku ri n'wansati ku ri n'wanuna va fanele va endla xin'wana na xin'wana swilo hinkwaswo swi langute vona amutini masitwisisa mana mina va hlupheke ngopfu malembe na malembe va hi kurisa hinkwenu ka mana mina hi 5 va hi kurisa va kurisa na vana va mina na vana va ndzisani ya mina hi mali ya le makhixini mara va kha va nga holi nchumu mali leyi a va hi hola yi ri ntsongo too much and ka van'wani vhakacha mana mina va gcine ku tirha makhixini na Capton Park mi kuma ku naya loko ni ya
a khulisa manje vana va le vana 28 years kin'wanyani na msimani wale mmuso wa government ya rona a ri u tonca xelete wale ngwana o lane kuare mohekulu mmuso wa reno tsontša tšhelete nae ke family ya gago ba o tšherela mohekulu re ke tseba ka la mo tshwara mmetha nako ela mmetha sisi ya ka buya na mmaka nyako.
Wow. As you guys have heard, le ntombazane ekhuluma lo sisi wamtsonga asho ukuthi mama akhe beka domestic worker wamfaka esikolweni yena wahluleka isikolo. She came back naye right now uyasebenza and ngapha uba domestic ngama weekend. That's amazing. We've got Jaftangulele saying thanks to everyone. We're watching, we're live, we're enjoying. And Mabandla Ngulele says naye aye Mr. Nguza. That's the performance that's going to be coming on. Nje manqeta ngomama uKonnie no baba uJamie Bartlett. Guys, in closing, I see that the thank you that people want is not going to come because basically you are saying that it's a person working. It's a person working at the end of the day.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. We said there should be some kind of appreciation and
But
gratitude and
right.
respect.
Right.
That definitely, I feel that it has to come in whatever way it comes.
Yes.
It might be financial, it might be just appreciating or whatever. But leo appreciation, ne gratitude, ne respect, iyafuneka. You are not supposed to forget a person who brought you up.
Yes.
And wakukhulisa emotionally, physically, spiritually, and otherwise. That needs to be acknowledged somehow.
So having said that, you think that there would be less hatred in the world, but seemingly not. So I'd like to ask you guys, is there anything that you'd probably like to say to brothers and sisters out there? If there's anything you can salvage from this topic today that would probably steer them in the right direction if you think they are not in the right direction?
I don't know. I think I feel like Jamie having I'm not putting you in on the block, but I'm just thinking that Omuntonjengo Jamie, who has enjoyed that, you know, she would be the best person to talk to this thing that we are addressing now.
Right.
Because as a white child who was brought up by black parents, he knows better. How does he feel? What is it that he thinks he could do, even if he's just saying thank you?
Yes.
You know, that appreciation.
You know, one of the things that one does is when you realize that you're privileged, you set up a whole series of mechanisms to deny it, to just not look there. Because if you look there and you see it, you don't look it, you see it, that means you have to engage.
Yes.
So you set up a whole lot of mechanisms where you just pretend it doesn't exist. You pretend it's not happening. You pretend that you're able to go to the cheese shop and spend 1,000 rand on cheese. You just and when you come outside and you see how chipped it is outside and the poverty and the go-go, and you start thinking, you just have mechanisms where you're just in total and utter denial in order to protect and allow yourself to kind of just go into the tissue of life. So, and I think that a lot of white people have done that. They're in absolute denial.
Yeah.
They can also talk, but remember, talk is cheap.
Right.
And I think that it's quite natural that people do that. We need to arrest their attention so that they can see and then engage and do something about it. And we need it to happen en masse, not certain individuals, not 5% of that population. It needs to be en masse.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
A big awareness.
A big awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely has to be on a bigger awareness, and especially to you. I'm talking to you young people right now, any inking where you steal your grandmother and your grandfather's sasa cards. Just let them talk.
Yeah.
That is just another subject that we need to Ukokwako cannot be comfortable at home because of that. I mean, how do we deal with the fact that the parents will still drop their kids at the Gogos? You as the parent are sitting comfortably here in Bryanston or wherever you are, and you always say, now when it's my child, Ukoko, you're complaining. That's just another thing that we need to deal with.
Yes.
Honestly.
And also, just remember that when that go-go finishes graft at your house and she's deciding she's going to walk the 2Ks, she's not going to pay the extra taxi, right? She is very vulnerable with that phone.
Exactly.
She's vulnerable on putting the money into her bosom.
Yes.
She's worried, but now that, we know that because she's easy target, and guys here do not respect the fact that that is a go-go who has served literally on her knees her whole life. She's vulnerable and she's petrified to make that journey.
Wow. So profound.
So profound. Guys, we thank you.
Thank you
for your time. And
thank
last
you.
words. Guys, thank you so much.
Yes.
And I really want to to add that, guys, I respect you guys. I've respected you guys before I got onto this field. I respect you guys now. You're great parents, great people. Please take care of yourselves.
Thank you so much. Likewise, we also respect you. You know, we see you. We see you. That's all I can say. We see you. And we've been seeing you.
And I can't emphasize enough how grateful I am to have you guys sit here and share your thoughts with us. It is so valued here at Vanishing Culture.
Charmaine, thank you so much, and thank you to Sphiwe, and what a great couple. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Well, thank you. guys, it's been Vanishing Culture. It's a beautiful show. Remember, guys, it's stage 1. Stage 1, it doesn't mean it's over. No, what's going on?
You know?
And they're starting to share cigarettes.
Saliva, everything.
Saliva. They're swallowing already.
You know?
Somebody said, did we get the wrong info?
Maybe we didn't get the mandate.
It's not over, guys. Then. Yes. It's not over, guys. Please.
Yes.
And this whole thing of just because you live in the suburbs or you live in the location, then you want to go down to the farms and visit your grandmother after you've been drinking and having fun with your friends, and she's got underlying issues.
Yes. Be a good child.
Yeah. What's our next topic?
Ooh, very spicy. Our next topic. I'm going to enjoy this one too.
You're going to tell it?
No, I have to tell you this one actually.
Okay, please.
Brace yourself.
Yeah.
We're talking about men that twerk.
Yes!
So expect a lot of twerk next week.
So John Vulikate, you'll see. We want to talk about that. Is it African to see Amatota as Bonisa?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's wrong if you want to shake your...
No, spear aside and they're twerking away.
They're just twerking away.
Yeah.
They're not even showing us...
No animal skin, nothing, just twerking.
They're just leaving it out there.
Yeah.
Not in the open for everybody to...
Yeah, indulge.
That's what we're talking about next week, male twerking. And is it African? Remember, this whole twerking was started by her family. It's a Tonga thing, you know. They've been doing it. If you don't believe me, you'll see when Guza does it now. Twerking is actually South African, you know that. I mean, you would know.
Yeah,
that.
I would know.
So is rap and hip hop.
Ooh! Yes, ma'am, so right there. No, you know why we went there, Connie? Because, let me get myself out of this. I saw Tonga women do the twerking before people were twerking, you know, Ngeshpelane and all of that. And then now we start seeing it on TV and they're saying it's American, taking our... Not. Yeah. It's ours.
Yeah. And I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, Charmaine, but I think that Tsonga men also do a kind of twerking with a 4-5 in the front door.
Well, they've got the right equipment for it.
Let's wait for next week.
You gotta love it. And twerking for 5. I like that. Yeah. Guys, you see, you don't want to miss next week. Male twerking. Is it African for men to be twerking? And why shouldn't they if they can?
If they've got it. I mean,
they've got it, flaunt it. So remember, those people there in Ghana, Malawi, all your SADC countries were with you, man. Not forgetting Nigeria, Congo, Sisonke, South Africa. Before
Hello, Africa.
Yes. Tell me how you're doing. Hey, that's our new presenter, guys. I want to say thank you very much. Mtshali, we're not leaving you without Mr. Nguza as on Shai, like twerking. Hey, Nguza, take it away. But before that, we're going to go to a break. Mtshali,
Manatiko ukenzile nirtihlayise namakaya itambona futhi next week loko ikhaba ihlanganiso swa yena loko mi ri na swona.
Male that twerk. Twerking males.
Come on, you look. karata seo ka ratang ngwana yona tsholo ka moya tsholo kampela seo ka ratang ngwana eloye bona ne seo no baba yona tsholo ka moya tsholo kampela seo ka ratang ngwana eloye bona ne seo no baba yona tsholo ka moya tsholo kampela seo ka ratang eloye bona ne seo no baba yona tsholo ka moya tsholo kampela seo ka ratang eloye bona ne seo no baba this thing ya magoa ka mgo a treata batho ba bantsho ne re kopa as government just re be equal le bona because this thing has been from far until even now is 2020 since Mandela we fight for struggle but this thing is still the same because I remember even 2007 ngwana ka nakena go smile kids le magoa they used to call me ka forest ni mantle tuot dintho tse jwalo na re khotse tsa kene dikolo tsa magoa and then motho o montsho le legoa a ba be equal even ke go mall or ke service go shopong or wherever restaurant they don't treat us as equal even the rights are not
aya local ganyane nna ke a itseba ne ke tloela bana ba ka go so shangwe go di JJ kwa ke berekela ka mo ke tshisa ka 5 ke fitla ka kwa late ka bo maybe bo after 7 bo to 8 ene ke ba shimane ba babedi tsa jeno ke fitla ka khumana mpaka tu utletse kure line la utlo ko nna strata sa bo history ba re ngwana o timetse wa ngwanyana wa bo 5 years ke batletse ko nna ba re ka mo ka re bona ba shimane fela ngwana ba swantsi ba mo kidnapile ba shimane ba mphakathi o nya go tlhaishetsa bana ba ka kotsi he ke tla ka taxi ke fulwa ke kere ke re go di hanki ke ba questiona mo ke he ba explain ba nka nakwa ke go tlo tlhaela batho ba rawa ngwana re mkereile ko di HH ka kwa ko mane ya hae enenge be ilura ka tla ka
le se batang le sona mo gae be re ja dipanana re ya masibitse re thabela chelete le ba boela morago ba re fa chelete re shala re ja ka yona mo gae ke yona nto be re thabela yona ja gore ba ba dirang ba ba treatwa be nna be re sa e bone ba no ba fa di present ke ba thabela di percentage ba ba fang tsona maybe ba ba fa di toy rena re gona go dlala ga di toy tse uwe ba fileng ba rawa tse di tlhako le go ellaka le ke bereka molo
ni ri wansati ni kurile teta na vana vanharhu va vafana ni kurise hi mali ya le makhixini mana mina va tirhe nkarhi wo leho amakhixini swinene until va ze va gcina ku tirha last year hiko va famba va wisa va famba va ya kaya Giyani va ya tshama kona mina ni kule hi mali ya makhishi ni nghena xikolo ni fika la ni nga tshika ni tivi na grade 12 because a ku ri ku tikeni swinene mana mina ku ri munhu loyi a ku ri n'wansati ku ri n'wanuna va fanele va endla xin'wana na xin'wana swilo hinkwaswo swi langute vona amutini ma swi twisisa mana mina va hlupheke ngopfu malembe na malembe va hi kurisa hinkwenu ka mana mina hi 5 va hi kurisa va kurisa na vana va mina na vana va ndzisani ya mina hi mali ya le makhixini mara va kha va nga holi nchumu mali leyi a va hi hola yi ri ntsongo too much ene ka van'wani vhakacha mana mina va gcine ku tirha makhixini na Capton Park mi kuma ku naya loko ni ya
a khulisa manje vana va le vana 28 years tin'wanyani na musimani wale wale mmuso wa government ya rona a ri u conca tšhelete wa lengwana o lane khu wa re mohekulu mmuso wa rena o conca tšhelete nae ke family ya gago ba o tšherela mohekulu re ke tseba ka la mo tshwara mmetha nako ela mmetha sisi ya ka buya na mmaka nyako